Good evening, everyone, and a warm welcome to the next session on Java. And in the previous session, we have started the concept of interfaces. So these are the points what we have seen so far in the topic of interfaces. And now let us look at the next points. I hope you all understood these 10 points. And I want to discuss a few more things regarding the 11th point. So that is, in a class at the same time, we can implement two or more number of interfaces, right? So here, just I want to justify this point. Once again, already we have seen why multiple inheritance is not supported in Java in case of classes, and why it is supported and why it is supported in case of interfaces. So in the classes, we get the problem of ambiguity, but in case of interfaces, there will be no ambiguity. So just I want to explain why multiple inheritance is not supported in case of classes and why it is supported in case of interfaces in this class. And after the completion of that particular thing, we will work on some of the programs on interfaces, right? So let us take a new Java file. Let us take a new Java file. Now, define a class A, and which contains a method called as void m1, and it will print something called as system dot out dot println, system dot out dot println Iiece, and there is another class which is called as class B, and it contains the same method m1, right? It also contains the same method m1, and now it will print an output called as CSC over the output screen, right? So now what I want to do is I want to define another class which is C, which is trying to extend A comma B. So it is multiple inheritance. So the class C is having two parent classes, that is class A and class B. So it is called as multiple inheritance. And inside this particular class, I have a method m2, which will print something called as system.out.println civil over the output screen, right? So here I want to define a main class which is called as class E, and inside this class I want to define the main method of Java, that is public static void main string args, and inside this main method, just a second, I want to create an object for class C space some obj equal to new C space some obj equal to new C, and with the method of obj I want to call the method m1. You can see here I want to execute the method m1 by using an object which belongs to class C. So here, when we move to the class C, there is no m1 method. It contains m2 method. So there is no m1 method. So the control will check for m1 method in A and B. So let us move to the A and B. In A, there is a method called m1, and in B also there is a method called m1. both the classes we find the method m1. Now my question is, this object belongs to class C. This object belongs to class C, and which method, right? Which method will get executed? Either the method present in class A or the method present in class B, because both class A and class B contains the same method m1. So now we are trying to execute the method m1 by using an object belongs to class C. Class C is inheriting the properties of class A and class B, both the properties. Now what will happen is the compiler will gets into an ambiguity situation. The compiler will gets into an ambiguity situation whether to execute the method m1 which was present in class A or to execute the method m1 which was present in class B. But such type of ambiguity can be avoided in case of interfaces. I will show it how, right? So if this particular A is an interface, if particular A is an interface, we all know that interfaces contains all abstract methods. No method will have body, right? No method will have body inside an interface. And similarly, if if this one class B is also an interface, right? Interface, this method will not have body, right? This method will also does not have body. Now if we want to use the interfaces inside the classes, right? If we want to use the classes inside if we want to use the interfaces inside the classes, we need to use the keyword implements keyword, right? Implements. now now if class C is implementing A and B, which means this class C has to provide bodies for all the abstract methods which were present in class A and all the abstract methods which were present in class B. అంటే క్లాస్ ఏలో ఉన్నటువంటి అన్ని అబ్స్ట్రాక్ట్ మెథడ్స్కి, క్లాస్ బిలో ఉన్నటువంటి అన్ని అబ్స్ట్రాక్ట్ మెథడ్స్కి క్లాస్ సిలో మనం బాడీ ప్రొవైడ్ చేస్తున్నాము అని చెప్పేసి మీనింగ్. సో ఇక్కడ ఇక్కడ మనం చూడొచ్చు, ఆల్రెడీ ఈ పాయింట్స్ని లాస్ట్ 2 క్లాసెస్లో డిస్కస్ చేసాం. సో ఇఫ్ వీ వాంట్ టు మేక్ యూజ్ ఆఫ్ అన్ ఇంటర్ఫేస్ ఇన్సైడ్ ఎ క్లాస్, we need to use implements keyword. Now in the class, see here in the class, we have to provide bodies for all the abstract methods which are inside an interface, right? So we have to provide the body. Otherwise, what happens if we don't provide bodies for all the abstract methods of an interface? Then that particular class will be abstract. Then that particular class will be abstract. So here what we have to do is, we have written a statement called as class C implements A and B, which means we have to provide the bodies for all the abstract methods which were present in class A and which were present in interface A, and all the abstract methods which were present in interface B. So if we fail to provide the bodies for all the abstract methods, all the abstract methods of the interfaces A and B, then this particular class will become abstract, right? If we don't want to use this abstract keyword before the class definition, we need to provide the bodies for all the abstract methods which were present in class A, interface A, and all the abstract methods which were present in interface B. So let us have a look at what are the different abstract methods that are in interface A. If we move to interface A, it consists of only one abstract method, and the name of that abstract method is M1. So here just use M1 and provide some body here. System dot out dot println, right? System dot out dot println. it will print Iiece, right? So now there are no abstract methods inside an interface other than M1. Now let us have a look at interface B and find what are the abstract methods. In interface B, there is an abstract method called as M1. There is one abstract method which is called as M1, where that M1 is already having the body inside this particular class. So there is no need to provide body for another M1 method because no programming languages will allow same method name, same parameters, same return type. No programming language will allow all the two things with the same nature. Either there may be difference in terms of parameters, or there may be difference in terms of method names, or there may be difference in terms of return types, at least in some, right? So no programming language will allow the user to define two or more number of methods which are having all the same properties. So here there is no need to define the method M1 again because M1 is already having the body. So here, so we have provided bodies for all the abstract methods which were present in class A and all the abstract methods which were present in class B. So there is no need to define this class with abstract keyword. There is no need to define this class with abstract keyword. Now, because it is not an abstract class, it is a normal class, we can directly create objects for this class. And now, when we want to call the M1 method with the object of class C, then the compiler will not have any confusion because there is no M1 method which is having the body in any other structure. In here only, we have only one M1 method. There are no couple of M1 methods. There is only one M1 method. So in this way, we can avoid the ambiguity situation for a compiler in case of interfaces, right? So this is why we had seen one point, multiple inheritance is not supported by Java directly, but indirectly it was supported up to some extent by using the concept of interfaces, right? So this is the justification of this point. So hope all you get understood the concept of interfaces and the concept why multiple inheritance is not supported in Java and why it is supported by using interfaces in Java, right? So let us move to the next point here. In classes at the same time, we can implement two or more number of interfaces, right? And second one, 12th one, sorry, multiple inheritance in Java is only possible through interfaces. So multiple inheritance in Java is only possible through interfaces. So we have seen the example for this one. And the third one, Java allows the programmer to extend a class and implement an interface at the same time. So Java programming language will allow the programmer to extend a class and implement an interface at the same time. So let us look at the example for this 13th point, right? Here, let us take one thing. I request the people who don't understand the concept of abstract classes and interfaces, please have a look at the last couple of sessions, right? So which will be uploaded in the YouTube channel, college YouTube channel. So I request you to please observe abstract classes and interfaces sessions. Now we are discussing about this 13th point. Java allows the programmer to extend a class and implement an interface at the same time. See here, I have a class, the name of the class is A, and which contains a method M1, let M1, which will print something called as system.out.println, system.out.println, say, hi, good morning, and then there is a class called as class B, right, class B. So before defining a class, let us define an interface, something called as X, interface X, which contains a method called as M2, and this method will print system.out.println, hello, good morning, hello GM, that is good morning, right? And there is one more class called as, which is called as class B. This class B wants to inherit the properties of class A. I'm sorry. Here it is abstract method. So we are talking about interfaces. There is no need to define body for the methods which were present in the interface. We can close it by using a semicolon, right? So here I want to define a class B, right? Inside class B, at the same time, I want to inherit the properties of class A, and at the same time, I want to implement the interfaces. So I want to inherit the properties of class A, and at the same time I want to implement the interface X. So I can define this class as class B extends A implements X. I can define as class B extends A implements X, which means in class B I am going to inherit the properties of class A, and at the same time I will implement under that, which means I will provide bodies for all the abstract methods of class X. So you can define like this, but you are not allowed to use implements X, extends A. You are not allowed for this declaration, right? So when we want to inherit the properties of class A, and at the same time when we want to implement an interface, that inheritance have to be done first, which means we need to use the extends keyword first, followed by implements keyword. Right now in class B, we have to provide the bodies for all the abstract methods which were present in interface X, because here we have written implements X, which means in the class B we are going to provide the bodies for all the abstract methods which were present in interface X. So here what happens if we don't provide bodies for the abstract methods of interface X? So interface X contains the method M2. If I don't provide body for M2, then we need to define class B as abstract. Simple, right? So when it is an abstract class, we cannot create object directly. We need to subclass it, and at least in the subclass, we have to provide bodies for abstract methods. And in the subclass also, if we fail to provide bodies for the methods, abstract methods, then again we need to subclass if we want to create an object. So there is no other way. If we want to create an object for this class B, we need to provide body for M2, or otherwise this class B will become abstract. And if we want to use the method M1 or method M2 with the object of class B, we cannot use it if we don't provide body for M2, right? So here, don't get away from the topic, come to the topic. So I want to inherit the properties of class A. I want to implement the interface X. Both the things I want to do. So I can write the statement as class B, which is a new class, is going to inherit the properties of class A and which is going to implement the interface X. So here, inside this interface, I need to provide body for M2. So here, the body for M2 is system.out.println. We can use, we can print anything. Hello, good morning, right? So, right, in the same class also we can define the main method in Java, or else we can make a new class, and in the new class we can create objects for class B, and then we can call the methods M1 or method M2. Instead of writing the new class, I can write the main method in the same class itself. String args, and inside this main method, let us create an object for class B. Just a second. Inside the main method, let us create obj equal to new B, right? So the object of obj, let us call the method M1, and let us call the method M2, right? Now we have to save the program with the name B, because B is the class which contains the main method public static void main string args, right? So save the program with b.java, compile the code, and there is something M2 in B cannot implement M2 in X, attempting to assign weak access privilege. So was public. So one thing we have to do is we need to define it as public, because it should be available. It should be available for a class to implement, right? So we need to define it as public. So here, save the code and compile the code again. Just a second. Compile the code. So again, we are getting the same thing. Just a second. Sorry. Here also, I need to use the public keyword. I'm sorry. Save and compile the code. So there are no errors. Now let us execute the code by pressing on Ctrl 2. So if I execute the code, it is working perfect, right? So in class B, we have achieved the properties of class A, and we have implement an interface, right? So let us see what will happen if I don't provide this body. What will happen if I don't provide this body? So here we are getting some error at line number 12. That is, B is not abstract and does not override the method M2. So B ki mundu manam abstract keyword రాయలేదు అలా అని చెప్పేసి క్లాస్ బిలో M2 అనే మెథడ్కి బాడీ ఇవ్వలేనప్పుడు ఇక్కడ అసలు ఓబీజే ఈ బిలో M2 అనే మెథడే నేను ఫైండ్ అవుట్ చేయలేదని చెప్పేసి లైన్ నెంబర్ 19లో మొత్తం మనకి 2 ఎర్రర్స్ వచ్చింది. సో అంటే ఇక్కడ మనం అబ్స్ట్రాక్ట్ అనే కీవర్డ్ అన్నా యూజ్ చేయాలి, లేదా దీని లోపల M2 అనే మెథడ్కి బాడీ అన్నా ఇవ్వాలి, రైట్? సో ఈ 2 కేసెస్. Right now, let us have a look at the 14 point, number 14, right? Java allows the programmer, right, to extend a class and implement multiple number of interfaces at the same time. See, the difference between the 13th and 14th point is that in the 13th point, we have discussed that we can extend and we can implement one interface. But in the 14th point, we have extended a bit. So we can extend a class and we can implement multiple number of interfaces at the same time. So let us look at this code. Let us look at this code. So in the code, we have only one interface, that is X. So for example, if I have another interface Y, and this particular interface contains public void M3, this interface contains an extra method, and in the class, if I want to implement both the interfaces, I can simply write like this: class B extends A implements X comma Y. We have already seen that we can implement n number of interfaces at the same time in a class, right? So this is valid. Now what we have to do is class B is going to implement interface X and interface Y, which means in class B we have to provide the bodies for all the abstract methods which belongs to class X, and we have to provide the bodies for all the abstract methods which belongs to class Y. If you fail to provide either bodies for all the abstract methods of class X or the bodies for abstract methods of class Y, then this class B, we need to define it with an abstract keyword. And then the program will never allow you to create an object for class B because it is abstract. And if you don't want to use abstract keyword along with the class B, then we have to provide bodies for all the abstract methods which belongs to class X and all the abstract methods which belongs to class Y. So here we have already provided the body for M2. M2 is an abstract method which belongs to class X, and the class Y contains another abstract method with the name M3. Now it is our duty to provide body for the method M3 in order to avoid class B to become abstract. So let us provide body for M3, and inside this body I want to print system.out.println. Let println. I want to print how are you, right? How are you? So now if I want to execute the method M3, I can simply write obj.m3, save the code, compile the code, and run the code. You can see here, hi, good morning, hello, good morning, how are you? So we are getting all the three outputs, which belongs to system.out.println statements of three different methods, M1, M2, and M3. So this is how we can inherit a class and we can implement an interface, a single interface or multiple number of interfaces at the same time, right? So with this, we have completed the topic of interfaces, right? So let us look at all the points, the interfaces one by one, and we can close this session. So as we've seen that, first one, interfaces are zero or null implemented structures. So the meaning of this point is, there is no body for at least one method inside an interface. All the methods inside an interface do not have a body. So because of they don't have a body, they are called zero implemented or null implemented structures. Coming to the second one, so to define an interface, we use the interface keyword. Interface keyword use చేసి interface ని define చేస్తాం. కీవర్డ్ తర్వాత ఇంటర్ఫేస్ నేమ్ ఇస్తాం, అండ్ దాని తర్వాత ఇంటర్ఫేస్కి బాడీని ప్రొవైడ్ చేస్తాం విత్ ఇన్ క్లెవర్ బ్రేసెస్. అండ్ నెక్స్ట్ వన్, సో థర్డ్ వన్, సిమిలర్ టు క్లాసెస్. అంటే క్లాసెస్లో ఎలాగైతే వేరియబుల్స్ మెథడ్స్ ఉంటాయో, interfaces also contains variables and methods. So similar to classes, interfaces also contains variables and methods, and there is one difference between the variables and one difference between the methods between classes and interfaces. So variables inside an interface are public final by default. So by default, the variables inside an interface are final, and the methods inside an interface are public abstract by default. So if we define it or not with abstract keyword or final keyword, by default they will be added to the variables and methods inside an interface, right? And sixth one interface can achieve the properties of another interface through inheritance. This was generally happens in case of classes. One class will achieve the properties of another class by using the concept of inheritance. Either it may be a single, multi-level, hierarchical, right? Similar to this one, one interface can also achieve the properties of another interface through single inheritance, multiple inheritance, multi-level inheritance, hierarchical inheritance, and hybrid inheritance. So all the type of inheritances are supported in case of interfaces. But in case of classes, it does not support multiple inheritance. And next one. So if we want to use one interface and another interface, we can use extends keyword. And now if we want to make use of an interface inside a class, so we want to link an interface to a class, we need to use the keyword called as implement. And next one, eighth one, in a class, we have to provide bodies for all the abstract methods which are inside an interface. So for example, if I have written class A implements X, which means X is an interface, A is a class. So in class A, I'm going to implement interface X, which means in class A, I have to provide bodies for all the abstract methods which belongs to class X, right? So see the ninth point, if we don't provide bodies, so there may be some situations we cannot provide bodies. So in such case, if we don't provide the bodies for all the abstract methods of an interface, then that particular class will become abstract, right? So what happens if the class becomes abstract? You can see all the things here. So see from the fourth point, we cannot create objects for abstract classes. What happens if we don't provide bodies for all the methods of an interface? Then the class will become abstract. What happens if the class became abstract? Then we cannot create objects for abstract classes. Then how can I execute the methods which were present in abstract class? We need to subclass it, which means we need to subclass the abstract class, and in the subclass we have to provide bodies for all the abstract methods. And in the subclass also, at least we have to provide bodies for all the abstract methods. If we fail to provide the bodies even in the subclass, then the subclass will also become abstract. And then again we need to subclass, and in the subclass also we have to provide bodies. Otherwise it will also become abstract. So that will be the concept of abstract classes. So the people who miss the concept of abstract classes, they can go through the video which was there in the YouTube channel, right? And now if one interface extends another interface, right? If one interface extends another interface, and if we want to implement a sub interface, then we need to provide bodies for all the abstract methods of both the interfaces, otherwise the class will become abstract. So for example, if I have written, here you can see if I have written interface X, right, and interface Y extends X, and here I want to implement only the interface Y. I don't want to implement the interface X, but interface Y itself extending interface X, which means if I write implements Y, I need to provide the bodies for all the abstract methods which belongs to interface Y, and in turn the interface Y is extending the class interface X. So I have to provide bodies for all the abstract methods which were present in interface X also. So here I have to provide the bodies for all the abstract methods which belongs to interface Y, and at the same time I need to provide bodies for all the abstract methods which belongs to interface X, because interface X is inherited by interface Y. And if I fail to provide bodies for all the abstract methods which belongs to interface X and all the abstract methods which belongs to interface Y, then this class will become abstract. And that is the meaning of this point. So if one interface extends another interface, and if we want to implement a sub-interface, then we need to provide bodies for all the abstract methods of both the interfaces, otherwise the class will become abstract. And we know what are the points which belongs to an abstract class. We cannot create objects, we have to subclass, and at least in the subclass we have to provide bodies, otherwise it also will become abstract. And again we need to subclass and we have to provide bodies, otherwise it also will become abstract. It is a continued process. And then in classes, at the same time, these 2 points are very common. Just a second. Not these 2 points. Right, let us see the 11th point. In classes, at the same time, we can implement 2 or more number of interfaces. So here I have written earlier x comma y, which means in this class B, I'm going to implement both the interfaces at a time. Right? So we can implement n number of interfaces at the same time, and then multiple inheritance is possible through interfaces in Java. So in Java, classes cannot do multiple inheritance because of the problem of ambiguity, but interfaces can do. If there is the same method name, we can only provide body once. So with the help of that, we can achieve the concept of multiple inheritance in case of interfaces, but it is not possible in case of classes because the problem of ambiguity will be raised. And then these 2 points are common. So if we want to extend a class and implement an interface or multiple number of interfaces, we can do this in Java. Right? We have seen here in the statement, class B is inheriting class A and implementing multiple number of interfaces x comma y. So that is the meaning of this point. Right? So with this, I'm going to close today's session. Hope you all got some enough knowledge regarding this session, and we will meet in the next session. Thank you for being here, and we will meet with the next topic, packages in Java. So coming to the topic of packages in Java, packages can be predefined and user-defined packages, right? So with the concept of packages, unit number 2 will be closed. So we will meet with the concept of packages in the next class. Thank you for being here.